Hello, hello. I know I'm late on this video, but yesterday was my mom's birthday. It was Mama Legend's birthday, so you already know. We had to do birthday things. Everybody's birthday in this house was literally within like a week apart from each other, so birthday things happened. But besides that, I know that I owe you guys a video. This video probably should have came yesterday night, but I'm giving it to you guys today. No, this is not the end of the series. I just decided to cut the script short, give you what I have so far. It's still going to make a good ending for this part and a phenomenal ending for the next part. Instead of trying to get one giant perfect script, just do two small phenomenal scripts. Let's just do that. You already know what this is. So without further ado, let's get into this intro so we can start this what if.
さすがは仮にも影の名を背負う忍びたちだ。ならば内浜田らも全力で答えよう。おかげも何も全てが無駄になることに。
Naruto lay on the forest floor, his blood pooling beneath him in a muddy and coppery puddle. Naruto was already missing his left arm, and because of all the blood loss, he was weak and was unable to gather the strength to move. Naruto's eyes were half lit, and he felt so calm and peaceful. Everything was just slower around him, but at the same time, everything was a blur. Naruto heard someone calling his name, and he barely had the energy to look around for the deep voice that he heard. Naruto! Naruto! Naruto barely looked around, mainly moving his eyes. Then he remembered he was a living prison. The voice wasn't outside, it was in his mind. Naruto weakly exhaled, his left lung collapsing like a balloon, losing all its air. Naruto! Naruto weakly answered out loud, afraid to go into his mindscape, fearing he would die without knowing that he died. Kyuubi? Naruto immediately got an answer. Naruto, you need to remove these kunai so I can heal you. Inside Naruto's mindscape, everything was starting to fade to black, and the darkness was slowly creeping closer to the cage that Kurama was in. Naruto finally answered, though it was weak and barely audible. I can't move. Naruto coughed, blood splattered on his lips, and a very sharp pain ripped through the side from his body jerking from the cough, but Naruto only winced before he finished speaking. I can't move my arm. I can't even muster the strength. Kyuubi, I'm scared. A tear ran down Kurama's face. He didn't want to die, and he needed Naruto to remove these damn kunais so he could heal him, just to give Naruto the chance to live. In turn, giving himself the chance to live. That snake sure did a number on you. First, he burst your eardrums and threw off your equilibrium. Then, he cut off your arm. And then, he ripped your left lung to shreds. And he did all this before you could even use my power. It's not like it would have made any difference. Not when he has an Uzumaki body and the Rinnegan. He's perfect. Kurama was now much softer with his words. The fact that he could do nothing was starting to settle in. The two of them would die, and they would be gone forever. Meanwhile, Mikoto, Itachi, and Sasuke all moved through Fire Country. They were sent to go and help Naruto or bring him back for medical attention if he needed it. The three of them were pushing the pace, going as fast as they could with the information that Moegi gave. Tsunade was forced to send her absolute best. And what was better than the only surviving Uchiha family? If Shisui were still alive, she would have sent him, but Shisui had been dead for a year. The three of them then came to a stop on a branch. Orochimaru was just standing there in front of them, like he was waiting for them. And that made it worse. None of them had sensed him, not until they saw him. Orochimaru stood across from the three Uchiha, the vitality of Taiya Uzumaki's body pulsing along with the power of the Rinnegan. I see that the leaf has sent its heaviest hitters. Maybe you three can be a better challenge than that Anbu I left bleeding on the ground. This caused all three Uchiha's eyes to widen, as all three of them simultaneously activated their Sharingan. Sasuke was the first to move forward, starting off with 10 shuriken. Sasuke watched as Orochimaru meticulously dodged each kunai, just enough to get out of the way and conserve energy. Sasuke reached back, gripping his sword, about to pull it out of its sheath, and that's when Orochimaru struck. He completely speed blitzed Sasuke. Sasuke was able to see Orochimaru's movements, just barely, but he was too slow to actually react. He was only in the middle of unsheathing his sword when Orochimaru shot his hand forward, trying to pierce Sasuke through the throat with his hand. But at the last second, Orochimaru jumped back as Mikoto came crashing down where Orochimaru once stood, the heel of her foot creating a small crater in the ground as dust and dirt shot up from the impact. Itachi was still hanging back, watching, observing, and learning. The way Orochimaru dodged those shuriken, the way he watched Sasuke from the corner of his eyes, the way he instantly took the very first opportunity to go and strike. As Sasuke reached back for his blade, the way he easily dodged when he just barely saw Mikoto ready to strike from above. It was like Orochimaru had a Sharingan. Orochimaru moved like he had one, except his movements were sharper, far more crisp, more deliberate. Itachi quickly put it together. The genjutsu that he heard in Moegi's report. Naruto, who was one of the strongest shinobi in the village, who was left bleeding out on the ground. Orochimaru's movements, his swiftness, how sharp he was, his confidence. Itachi knew Orochimaru had his perfect toast, and he had a Rinnegan to go along with it. Sasuke wasn't fast enough to keep up with Orochimaru, but he had the firepower. His mother, Mikoto, was fast enough to keep up with Orochimaru, but she lacked the firepower. However, Itachi himself was far faster than his mother, and he also had the firepower to match. He also had the mind as well, but he knew if he fought Orochimaru alone, he would have to be perfect. He could make 0 mistakes, and fighting together wasn't an option. Orochimaru said so himself. Naruto was somewhere out there, bleeding to death. Itachi made his decision as his Sharingan began to spin, forming a three-pronged shuriken. His Mangekyo Sharingan was active, a Mataratsu. Orochimaru barely jumped out of the way, and Itachi landed next to his mother and brother. You two go. Go and find Naruto and get him to the village. I'll hold Orochimaru here. Sasuke and Mikoto couldn't argue. They had to go and get Naruto fast. Though Mikoto and Sasuke wanted to help Itachi, they needed to help Naruto. Don't die, Itachi. As the two of them took off, Itachi said nothing, focused on Orochimaru. Orochimaru made no move to stop Mikoto nor Sasuke. He simply walked up to Itachi, smirk on his face, as if he were the only thing on the planet that had his interest. Now that was rude. Orochimaru said the line as if it were funny, and he and Itachi both stared each other down. Rinnegan versus Mangekyo Sharingan. Perfection and experience against youth and technique. Stamina and intelligence against creativity and intelligence. Meanwhile, with Naruto. So this is what dying feels like, Naruto thought. I didn't even... He coughed again, a weaker splatter of blood rising to his lips. It didn't even taste like metal anymore, just warmth. He was losing the feeling in his remaining arm. The sky above him spun lazily. The sun was beginning to dip below the tree line. The sun wasn't setting, but it was a marker that signified that Naruto had been laying in that one spot for a while. Naruto was getting tired. It was like he downed an entire bottle of sleeping pills and was fighting to keep his eyes open, but eventually his body gave out, and his eyes was shut, succumbing to unconsciousness, never noticing the two figures that landed next to him. Mikoto and Sasuke barely hesitated when they came upon Naruto. Upon laying eyes on him, the only thing Mikoto could say was, "Dear Kami." Sasuke nearly faltered upon seeing Naruto, and Mikoto was on the verge of a breakdown. They didn't expect to see him lying in a pool of his own blood, missing his left arm with 3 kunai deep in his left side. They knew that they were inside of his lung, and that was the only wounds that they could see with the naked eye. They didn't bother to check his pulse. Mikoto simply lifted Naruto into a fireman's carry, and her and Sasuke jumped off and left with Naruto. Mikoto had tears in her eyes because now she had to go and tell Kushina that her son could possibly die at any second because of a bad mission that he took for his Anbu career. Meanwhile, Itachi quickly created space between himself and Orochimaru as he went through hand signs. Orochimaru gave chase, but Orochimaru was met by a massive fireball, and it came in the form of a giant continuous stream. Orochimaru tried to absorb the jutsu, but he didn't realize that this was a trap set by Itachi. Itachi burst into a murder of crows and quickly got behind Orochimaru as he absorbed the fireball. Itachi appeared, one eye already closed, blood slowly poured from it. The Mataratsu. Orochimaru turned his head, and the black flames of a Mataratsu slammed straight into his back. Orochimaru winced and growled as the black flames slowly began to consume Orochimaru, and the fireball began to overwhelm him. And slowly, both jutsus collided onto him, burning his body into a crisp. Itachi looked on from a distance. He knew that wasn't enough to kill him. He waited, but there was zero movement. Itachi began to get curious, and he took a step forward. The moment his foot hit the ground, the earth broke beneath him, and Orochimaru came from the ground. His hand extended and morphed into a blade, going to gouge out Itachi's eyes. But Itachi smirked as he locked eyes with Orochimaru. He then exploded as hundreds of kunais flew in all directions like shrapnel, catching Orochimaru in the blast. But that Orochimaru turned and dissolved into mud. Orochimaru then appeared behind Itachi as he stood on a tree branch above. My, I must say, Itachi, you are a very capable shinobi. But let's be real. We both know you can't keep this up for long. You hide it well, but we both know that I can see your chakra reserves, and you mine. Itachi didn't turn. He simply stayed exactly how he was. It's not about who has the bigger reserves in this fight, Orochimaru. It's about creativity, efficiency, durability, and who has the better arsenal. We both have our advantages and disadvantages, but I have one advantage that makes me perform at peak performance in this fight, and that is, I know that if I don't kill you here and now, you will destroy my home. Itachi then body flickered away as a giant skeletal orange hand went to slam Orochimaru into the ground, but the Sannin turned and blocked with an almighty push. The clone of Itachi then used the remaining of his chakra for one last attack before dispelling. His right eye closed as blood began to stream from his closed eye before it snapped open. Tsukuyomi. The clone of Itachi then dispelled. The ribs and arms of the Susanoo ribcage evaporated away. Meanwhile, Orochimaru looked around as he was strapped to a cross. Everywhere he looked was pitch black, and the moon was blood red. Itachi came walking up to him, out of the darkness, katana in hand. This world that you see, Orochimaru, is called the Tsukuyomi. I rule everything here. I can control everything from the time and the plane itself at will. In here, I am God. Itachi then casually stabbed Orochimaru in the heart, ending his life. Orochimaru then found himself on another cross, right next to his other self that had died. Orochimaru was confused. He didn't know what the hell was going on except that this was a genjutsu. In here, your fate is already sealed. You will experience this pain, the same feeling, for 72 hours. Another Itachi then formed from the darkness, katana in hand as he stood next to the first one. The two of them then stabbed Orochimaru again, one stabbing him in his liver, the other stabbing him in the heart, killing Orochimaru for the second time. This went on for another 8 times, the number of Itachis doubling with each death. Then Itachi spoke again. You have an iron will, Orochimaru. Now, only 71 hours, 59 minutes, and 59 seconds left to go. Orochimaru then started to laugh as he looked at Itachi. This was Itachi's best genjutsu, and it was nothing to him. But there was a secret about this genjutsu that he didn't realize. Very good, Itachi. But now, it's my turn. Orochimaru screamed and began to flex and struggle against the cross before the illusion began to divide into 20 different pieces before shattering. Back in the real world, Orochimaru blinked. Not even a second had passed in the real world, yet Itachi was already coming at him, zero fatigue from the genjutsu breaking. Tanto already cocked back, and he swung, but Orochimaru ducked as another Orochimaru shot out of his mouth with the Kusanagi blade as he impaled Itachi, causing him to burst into a murder of crows. Meanwhile, Mikoto and Sasuke rushed Naruto back to the Leaf. The two of them shot through the gate faster than lightning. And finally, they made it to the hospital. We need a fucking doctor! Mikoto screamed with urgency, and it got everyone's attention. Everyone that was on the clock looked over. Mikoto stood there with Naruto, slowly bleeding all over her. Naruto had been unconscious for less than 5 minutes, but his life was still in danger, and everyone could see his Anbu gear that the young man was dressed in. and they made sure that he would get treated. They took him and placed him on a stretcher before rushing him to the ICU. Sakura was one of the staff members that would be performing the surgery on him. Mikoto stood there, wiping her face, smearing blood across one side of it. "Sasuke, go help your brother." Sasuke nodded and blurred away. Mikoto herself vanished, reappearing in Kushina's home. Kushina felt the sudden appearance of Mikoto and came out of a room, arms crossed above her chest. "Mikoto, what is it? You don't really come over here. I'm usually the..." Kushina stopped as she saw Mikoto, as her breath quickened. "What happened to you?" Before Kushina could reach her, Mikoto took a step back. It's not mine. It's not my blood." Kushina stopped, her face turning from worry to confusion. "What do you mean, it's not? Then, whose blood is it?" Mikoto took a deep breath. "Kushina, you might want to go to the hospital. Now." Kushina's face was more serious as she started to put her sandals on. "Mikoto, what do you mean? Why should I..." Mikoto cut Kushina off as she started toward the door. "Kushina, this isn't my blood. This blood, all of it belongs to Naruto." Mikoto then left, not wanting to see or hear her sister figure's reaction. Meanwhile, Itachi had blood coming from his mouth as he slammed into a tree. Itachi looked up, only to be blown through said tree by an almighty push. Orochimaru flashed above Itachi, with the Kusanagi blade ready to remove Itachi's head. But Itachi's left eye began to bleed once more. Amaterasu. The handle of the Kusanagi caught fire, causing Orochimaru to drop the blade. Itachi then planted his hand to slow his momentum as he posted and went to kick Orochimaru. However, said Sannin blocked the hit and was thrown away by the force. Orochimaru landed gracefully as Itachi righted himself. "You're very talented, Itachi. However, the longer this fight goes on, the more it bores me. I think I'll end this now." Orochimaru blurred out of sight, causing Itachi to slowly look around. He then heard that snake-like laugh that Orochimaru did behind him, but he didn't turn. Itachi then felt a massive amount of heat, causing him to look to his left. There was a giant fireball speeding towards him. Itachi leaped away, but Orochimaru appeared above him, kicking him back into the fireball, causing it to implode on Itachi. When all the smoke and dust cleared, Itachi stood there in the ribcage of the Susanoo. Itachi then heard the sound of 1,000 birds chirping as his head snapped up. "Chidori!" Orochimaru didn't bother to look. He held out a hand and caught Sasuke by the wrist and placed another hand onto his chest. "You're interrupting. How rude." A blade shot out of Orochimaru's palm, but Itachi pushed Sasuke out of the way, causing the blade to hit the ribcage of the Susanoo. "Sasuke, go home." Itachi then tossed Sasuke away. "Okay, Orochimaru. You made a mistake. The first time, it was fine, because it was dealt with by my mother. But now..." Itachi's Susanoo began to expand as it began to gain structure. A body, head, and arms, as armor covered it. "I will be the one to deal with it, and I will not be as soft as my mother." But guys, I'm going to end it off right here. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe while you're at it. Nah, I'm not going to place a like goal on this video. Without further ado, I will see you guys in the next one. Stay blessed, y'all.